Hi, Grigsby Gators. It's me again, Mrs. Wilder, reading the second part of Chapter 8 of the worst best school year ever. Here we go. At the last minute, two kids got sick, or said they did, and right away, both the alternates quit, which didn't surprise anybody. You don't want to quit, Mr. Crabtree told them. This is a big opportunity. He meant it was a big opportunity to take part in Fire Prevention Day and get a t-shirt and have their picture taken. But it was also a big opportunity to get pounded 2 feet into the ground by the Herdmans. I can only be an alternate, Roberta Scott said. I can't actually be in it or anything. Roberta, that's what an alternate is, Mr. Crabtree said. It's your responsibility to be in it and everything. You too, Lonnie. Lonnie Hutchinson was the other alternate, and he said he had to quit because of his asthma. Nice try, Lonnie, Mr. Crabtree said, but you don't have asthma. I know who all has asthma. I know who has pink eye and poison ivy and athlete's foot, also coughs and colds and nervous stomachs. Mr. Crabtree didn't mention any other diseases, and when Lonnie's mother called the school to say that Lonnie was sick with a rash, Mr. Crabtree didn't believe it. Too convenient, he said. It's probably finger paint or magic marker, something like that. 2 or 3 weeks ago, I saw Leroy Herdman walking around with red spots all over his face looking for trouble. I just told him, Leroy, go wash your face, and the next time I saw him, all the spots were gone. But it wasn't finger paint on Lonnie. It was chicken pox. And before you could say Speed and Safety Award Assembly, there wasn't anybody left to go to it. Mr. Crabtree wanted to postpone Fire Prevention Day, but the fire chief said he couldn't do that. It's Fire Prevention Day all over town, he said, all over the state. You can't just have your own Fire Prevention Day whenever you want to. Tell you what, though, if you'll get together a small group of whatever kids you've got left, your fire safety team would be good, and bring them down to the firehouse. We'll have the award presentation right here. We'll make it a big event. It turned out to be a bigger event than anybody expected because the pizza parlor ovens caught fire half an hour before the presentation. They put the fire out right away, but Mr. Santoro made all his customers leave because of the smoke, and most of them just followed the fire engine back to the firehouse and stayed for the presentation. Some people thought the fire was part of the presentation, especially when Mr. Santoro showed up with all his leftover pizza and handed it out for free. Everybody said this was a great way to advertise fire prevention, and they congratulated the mayor and the fire chief for thinking it up, and the fire chief congratulated Mr. Santoro for donating the pizza. The newspaper reporter got it all wrong, too. Mock fire stage to highlight Fire Prevention Day, he wrote. Restaurant owner contributes pizza for large crowd attending award ceremony. School students honored for safety techniques. The honored students were what was left of the fire safety team: Ralph, Imogene, Leroy, Claude, Ollie, and Gladys. And there was a picture of them standing in front of the fire truck looking like a police lineup. You could imagine an officer saying, "Now which one did it?" and the victim saying, "I can't be sure, they all look alike." They did look alike, except for being different sizes. Plus, of course, they had on the famous matching t-shirts. If I didn't know better, Mother said, I would think this was the Herdmans being honored instead of the school. This turned out to be the general opinion, and so many people called the newspaper to complain that they printed another story. Woodrow Wilson School, despite chickenpox epidemic, wins Speed and Safety Award, which my father said was better than nothing, but not much. What does chickenpox have to do with it? He wanted to know, but my mother said he was just tired of watching Charlie and me scratch. Mrs. Wendelken made Alice sit in the bathtub full of baking soda water so she wouldn't scratch, and made her wear these white cotton gloves so she wouldn't scratch. And then Alice came back to school. Besides having puckery, seersucker skin, she was still wearing the gloves. I don't think that's necessary, Alice, Miss Kemp said. I have to wear them while I'm thinking, Alice told her, so I won't forget and scratch. If you scratch chicken pox, they get infected and leave scars. Not on Leroy, Imogene said. Not on Ollie. Not on... Wait a minute, Miss Kemp said. Leroy? Ollie? I wasn't aware that any of your family was absent during our epidemic. Oh, we weren't absent, Imogene said. Miss Kemp frowned. But you had chicken pox, she asked. You mean, did I have chicken pox? Imogene said. This was like talking long distance to my grandmother without her hearing aid, and just like my grandmother, Miss Kemp didn't try to pin it down. If you have chicken pox, you can't come back without a note from the doctor, she said. And Imogene said, oh, okay, and got up and left. So no one ever knew for sure whether they did actually have chicken pox, or how many of them had chicken pox, or exactly when they had chicken pox. And no one ever knew for sure whether they came to school and breathed on everybody and ruined our big award assembly, or whether they were all sick and stayed home on the fire drill day, so we won the award in the first place. So that's the end of chapter 8, boys and girls, of the worst best school year ever. We will read chapter 9 tomorrow. And I think chapter 9 looks like it is possibly our last chapter. I believe it is. So we will finish this book tomorrow and we'll come up with a new one by Wednesday. Okay, Grigsby Gators, you have a great day and I'll see you on Zoom. Bye-bye.